for
We try
a
to
thing
find
with the
God in
egg
all
later,
different
but
types
so
of
if you have a pen,
situations,
you don't need
whether
it.
it be in the news or anything we encounter in the day. We talk about God with our children.
Test 1, 2, Ambo working.
Thank you. I couldn't find you guys. I said I have to make an announcement. That's perfect. Thank you. Just a real quick announcement before we start, which will be starting in a few minutes. So hopefully our small line can complete their transactions, but we will have time at the end for everyone to get everything that you need. We thought we would just take advantage, since some people were here really early, that they could get that out of the way, so those of you that still will need the supplies can get them later, and the line won't be as long. So anyone coming this direction is going to need a calendar, an egg, and a pencil, and then you can have a seat, and we'll get started in just a couple minutes. Thanks for letting us get everybody organized and materials in hand. So calendar is blue. Come get a calendar, one egg, and a pencil. One egg just for the parents. Yes, sorry, there's two parents here. Can you grab two eggs? This is for everyone, so you'll need a calendar. now I think he's scheduled to start at around 6:30.
Oh,
Just depends on when we
that's
start.
the start.
No, I'm gonna talk up top, and then he's gonna come up and talk.
Okay, hold on.
I guess he's in there with you guys?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Our tech crew is still getting everything set for our live streaming, so we may take just a few more minutes. Thanks for your patience. So everybody should have a calendar, an egg, and a pencil. And the rest of your materials we can get at the end. You got it.
We're streaming live, by the way. We're streaming live right now.
Right now?
Right now.
Wow.
Debbie, we should be good to go.
All right. Well, I guess we're already up and live, so thank you all for being here to our First Communion Sacrament Parent Meeting for all students of our parish that are either in their first year or second year preparing for the sacraments. So a lot of students that would be first grade and second grade, but there are students here who are in older grades that have come forward to also prepare for the sacraments. So welcome to everybody. It's so wonderful to have all of you here in person and those of you at home. We're one big community, and in these crazy times, we're just all spread out. But the gift of technology has been wonderful. We have such an amazing group of volunteers here. My new favorite crew, the live stream crew, they come every single day and set up and clean up from the live stream audio-visual equipment that you see, and they film daily mass for us and Sunday masses. So they're just an amazing new ministry volunteering their time. So once again, they're blessing us with the ability to reach out to all of us here during this really crazy time, right? I want to quickly introduce, before we get too much further, some of you saw Father Tim Donovan, who was here at our parish back a few years now, has it been, or just 1 year? 1 year ago he left. We miss him so much, it feels like forever. And so he's back tonight to share something really amazing that he's been putting his life, heart, and time into this last year. It's interesting how providential God is when Father Tim a year ago had something big on his heart. He's long been into involving families at home into the formation of their children, and has many creative ideas that he runs with. He's a busy guy. But God put it on his heart to create something, especially for families at home, to create a sacrament experience, a bonding time for families to grow spiritually together. And what an amazing coincidence then that we would all be thrust into our homes, actually sheltering at home for some period of time, and that we are kind of refocusing and really drawing together as family, both here at our parish and at home. So he has something wonderful to share with us, and we're looking forward to hearing from him in just a few minutes. So Father Tim Donovan's here, Danielle Payton and myself, Debbie Springer. We're the faith formation directors, and we direct all the faith formation at this parish from our littlest ones up through 18. So you'll be seeing us for many years, off and on, but hopefully for a lot of you through the many years that you're here journeying with your children. So they're receiving sacraments of First Communion, a lot of the students here. Some are actually being baptized as well. And then you'll journey again through confirmation with your teens in high school. So we're here a part of that lifelong journey with you. So we're so blessed to be able to journey throughout the life of your children and with all of you. And then Robbie, Miranda, Kathy Payton, Mary Jane Barty, all volunteer and also are some paid staff in our faith formation office. They're over at the tables helping with materials. And we're just so grateful to all those that volunteer and work here at the parish. Really, those that work here go the extra mile. The St. Bonaventure School faculty and staff, amazing this summer, getting everything ready for the school. That was a crazy ride to watch. And they started today. Those of you that are a part of the school started today. And we're going to be starting in a few weeks in faith formation, and it's just kind of like, here we go, you know? And so it's a really interesting time for all of us. Everyone seems to be just a little bit on edge without knowing really what's happening. And I think it's just like, it's been on my heart to say that I hope that we can pull together as a parish and support one another instead of being divisive like sometimes the world can be when we are all feeling so different about these times, you know, whether we feel comfortable coming in person or staying at home or wearing masks or not wearing masks. Politically, people are divisive, and we have a God that wants us to just come together and be unified. And so forgive us for all of the bumbling that we may do during this time. We just ask for your patience. We're going to be creating and discovering new things together. And we have a beautiful couple of years together ahead. And we really look forward to working with your families. We always have had this on our hearts to do all we can to support you in this next few years as you journey with your children. So we are pleased to also join the St. Bonaventure school staff. As many of you know, the faith formation of the parish has taken place in both the school and in faith formation programs if you attend the public schools. But more and more through the years, we realized we were so integrated in what we were doing that more and more our programs blended and merged together. And this is our first year where we are actually going to be doing 100% of everything together. And so we are happy to support the school in that because we've been doing the faith formation for so long. It's our specialty. And so we are so happy to integrate all of the traditions of the school together with those of faith formation as we move forward as a whole parish community. All right, so yes, COVID has challenged us in many ways, but also I think it's beautiful because it has exposed in many ways what's important, what's most important to all of us. I think in this time of unknowns, we've all kind of had to tuck in to places we feel safe and secure. And maybe we've had to reprioritize what is home for us and prioritize the kinds of things that we want to be a part of our homes. So much of our life has been limited, and yet home remains available to us. And so too our church is available to us, our home here at the church. And so when we were we come up with a theme every year in our office, and when we were coming up with a theme, Danielle kept saying, I just have it on my heart that this image of a nest. And this was long before we pulled it all together, but she had mentioned it a few times, and then we had moved on through the summer and realized, okay, it's getting down to it. We need to come up with our theme, and what are we gonna do this year? And so just this idea of a nest just kept coming up. So I just thought it'd be fun real quick for you to throw out, just tell me what comes to mind when you think of a nest. What are some words that come to mind when you see this nest, when you think of a nest? Anyone can just say what you think of. New life. I love it. Yes. Safety. Nurture. Love. Home. Exactly what we were thinking. Just the idea of a nest evoking just a warm, safe, secure place. Back in March, we were here, actually on the property, the very day that shelter at home was announced. Sheltering at home, shelter at home. And we were all packed up. We had 2 buses here and a whole bunch of teens ready to go to Mount Care, the facility that we have our confirmation retreat. Father Tim was here. Our musicians and some of our leaders had headed out already. And at the base of the mountain, they said, what's going on? Should we wait to go up the mountain? And sure enough, we ended up having to cancel the retreat mid-drive for the leaders, but we hadn't quite left the parish. We had never heard of such a thing, this shelter at home, and it was quite shocking. And really, for a while, we all tucked in really close, right, to home, and everything stopped. We didn't even say goodbye at the school. People packed up and left, and that was it. And I think it all was so new to all of us. We felt like we were those little chicks in a nest, just not knowing. It was so scary and unpredictable, and we hunkered down at home as we were told to do, and we didn't even know how it was caught, the COVID virus, what we could touch and not touch. Do you remember, like, we had to wipe down groceries? We had no idea, and how scared we were. We were just little chicks needing to feel secure and safe and protected. We needed a place we could trust that was predictable. And then slowly, after a few months, we started sharing with one another as time went on, right? And we realized that this COVID time, hey, it was pretty nice in a way, right? Life got really simple. There was isolation, but as time went on, families were realizing this is a special time. I had friends with their children home from college, and children that were adults coming back home and staying with their parents, and friends posting pictures of all the fun things they were doing, hiking and biking and spending time together. I just remember I didn't know what else to cook. We cooked so many meals, right, at home. We didn't even realize how much money we regularly spent going out to eat. And so we got filled up with family time and filled up, and we began to grow and understanding and fill up on all those meals. We got nourished and cared for. And as that nest got really tight and small, we began to want to go back out into the world, right? And so here we are. Lately, we've been coming out more and more. Huntington Beach, more than any other place, right, is on the news even. And we're kind of learning to use our wings and fly and navigate this post-COVID or current COVID world. And so this different world is a challenge, and we're not sure still the unpredictability of it all. Will the kids go to school live? Will they be sent back home? Will we be online forever? Are we going to get sick? We have friends that are getting sick, and some get better, and some have passed away, and we don't really know what age we can be to wear a mask or not wear a mask and be safe. And so we're just going to always continue to be needing to be nourished and mended and stay close to home. And we certainly want to know that our children are in a place that is safe, where they're going to be mended and nourished. And so that's where we come in, your church family, and we want to provide that kind of space for you. And there's a beautiful reading. It's just one verse in the Bible from Hebrews, and it reads, "For every house is built by someone, but God is the builder of everything." So every house is built by someone, but God is the builder of everything. And so when all things of the world fall away, the true things of life that matter remain, don't they? Our earthly family and our God continue to build nests that we can always come home to for shelter. And so this theme for the year, sheltering at home, we really want to show you tonight how your home here at church is really one and the same as your domestic church, your home at home. And we want to show you how we're here to unite the two homes that your children get to come to. And we have a lot of resources tonight we want to share with you that actually help you to build up your nests at home as you're entrusting your children here with us, as we're going to nourish and mend them when they come here. So we just ask God to be with us here tonight and to give us the strength to carry on as the nest builders of our home, and to continue to open our hearts and trust Him in this time, trust that He is guiding us and guiding our church through it all, and that we can be a beacon and a light to the world, to the divisiveness that's happening, and come together as a family and come together for our children. And we just pray all of this in his holy name. Amen. Okay, I want to introduce you to Father Tim. For those of you who, again, may not know him, he is now a chaplain, is that the official title, at Santa Margarita High School? And so lucky teens down there. And Father Tim is here to share with you the resources he's been working on for our church and his wonderful creative genius and what some of you are holding now, and the rest of you will be able to get your kits at the end. So here's Father Tim.
Hello, how are you? Good to see you. Good to be back. I always thought I would come back to inside the church, but here we are, you know. And if you've noticed, I have a lot more gray hair now than when I left you. That's what teenagers do, at least for half a year. So happy to be here with you tonight and to share with you kind of a fruit of my labor in the last year and what God has been put on my heart for the last almost 5 years in the seminary and as a priest. And my motto when I got ordained a priest was faith and family. And really those are the two biggest gifts I have ever been given in my life. And I think those are also the two gifts that endure forever. Our relationship with God and our relationship with our family. And when everything else passes away, those are the two things that we'll have with us forever. And I was invited to reflect on this difference between pressing things and essential things. I think sometimes it's good to ask ourselves, are pressing things always essential, and are essential things always pressing? Oftentimes, they're not, right? Oftentimes, essential things are rarely pressing, and usually those things pressing on upon us are usually really essential. And I think the invitation that we have for you this year is to take a moment to make essential things truly essential, and the pressing things, to get those done when we can. And I think that that's what COVID has done for me too in my life, is that I realized, man, there's a lot of essential things that I wasn't focusing on, like spending time in prayer, like spending time with my family, like spending time just kind of being rather than running around to all of these different things. And I have a little anxiety as the world reopens up, right? Like, oh man, I have to get back out there and start doing things every night. I also got a little French bulldog puppy during this time, so that's been a fun thing as well. So I want to share with you a little bit about what we've created. In your hands are two different boxes. One is a Mend box and one is a Nourish box. And these are two family experiences that we've created for you to experience at home with your kids. When you're at your baptism and when you're at the baptism of your children, the church asked you, are you ready to be the primary educators of your children in the faith? And all of you said, yes, right? Do you all know what you got yourself into? No, right? And I think oftentimes we feel overwhelmed by that task. Oftentimes we feel unequipped for that task. And really the beautiful words of the church say that really it's less about what we teach in our faith, but more importantly, why we teach it. And as we piloted this program in a parish last year up in Rancho Santa Margarita, where close to my high school, one of the dads came up and witnessed at the end of one of the meetings. He said to us, he says, we do very Catholic things in my home. We pray and we do activities and we teach and all those kind of things. He says, but what this resource allowed us to do was to become vulnerable with our kids, allowed us to share our hearts with them, not just about what we believe as Catholics, but why we believe it. And this is the stuff that sticks. This is the stuff that stays in someone's life for the rest of their life. And we found in our church that if we don't have these conversations at home, then they never continue in a person's life in the world. Less than 1% of those who call themselves Catholics have any intentional faith conversations at home beyond a dinner prayer. And that's the reality we're in now. And I think we got here in a couple different ways. I think it's not been modeled for us in some time. And I think we, in our history, have said, send your kids over to us, we'll take care of the formation, and we'll send them home to you. And we've assigned that to somebody else. But really, we're in an opportunity, in a position in our church now, to really allow you to claim that back. Because of your baptism, because of your marriages, because of your call as parents, you have that right and you have that responsibility, but you also have that charism. that God gives you this gift of being able to teach your kids about the faith. And teaching your kids about the faith doesn't just come from what we know up here, but it's so much more about what we live in our homes. They first learn how to forgive by your example of forgiveness. They first learn how to love by your example of sacrificial love in your home. And so these moments are moments for you to have intentional conversations. So our mission of the Faith and Family Life Catholic Ministries, which you can see on the bottom of the box there, is really to allow you to have intentional faith conversations at home, to give you tools, resources, and language in order to have those conversations. Hopefully then that will kind of flow over into the rest of your lives as well. So I want to play for you, hopefully it'll work, a little video that we created to kind of introduce you to this concept of the family meeting. And what the family meeting is we encourage each family to set a specific time each week to stop and to say, this is going to be our time for family and this is going to be our time for the Lord. And when we set aside a specific time, when we make that time holy, and we do holy things during that time, it can start to transform our homes and transform the lives of our families. And we've created a simple structure for these family meetings. They're designed to be 20 to 40 minutes in length, so they're not totally overwhelming. And you have everything that you need for those in that box. It's not something you have to go out to find or get or do anything, but everything that you need is conveniently located there. So we want to play that video for you, and I'll come up and lead you through one of those boxes.
Doorways are passageways. Our front door moves us from the outside world with its busyness and expectations into our home. With one or two steps, we enter the space where we belong. In our home, we have the opportunity and responsibility to form and inform our children and our family. Our home is a sanctuary. It is set apart. Hi, I'm Brian.
And I'm Tiffany.
These are all our 5 boys. We are a real, actual family.
Welcome. It is such a joy to be with you. We hope to encourage you and inspire you to bring this program to life in your homes.
For our family, faith is a journey we walk daily. We try to find God in all different types of situations, whether it be in the news or anything we encounter in the day. We talk about God with our children, and we make time for prayer whenever we can. We try to be intentional about that time also. We visit the sacraments, Mass once a week. But it's very important for us that we schedule those times to pray together as a family. And our children know that when we come together, there's a certain time when we pray, and that time is for God.
We're going to guide you through what a family meeting looks like and give you the tools to be successful and feel confident in your own family.
And how are we going to do that? By demonstrating with tips and guiding you through modeling these meetings with our own family.
And there's no perfect way to do it. Just stick with it, and it'll bear fruit.
Every family meeting follows the same structure: gather, family check-in, activity, teaching, and prayer. Ritual is important. It provides a safe and consistent space we can rely on. Decide on a specific day and time that works best for your family. As a family, we learn from one another. Each person will bring something important to the conversation.
Create an area that feels cozy. Think lots of pillows and blankets. Children benefit from quality time with family, so you can set a space that encourages them to sit close together and lean into your conversations with one another.
The content has been written to help your family encounter Jesus. We will look at his teachings, leadership, and servant heart to help us understand what it means to follow him.
We learn the most when we have to teach. As parents, this will be a time of growth for you too. You're invited to look over the meeting cards or the content online beforehand and make the content your own. The language provided is a model, but each family is different, and you know your children best.
Some meetings will go great, and some will be a struggle. We don't give up on taking our children to practice when one game doesn't go well. The same goes for our faith life. If it is important to us, we will continue to pursue it.
Consistency is key. You'll start to look forward to your weekly time together, and take your time. It is the one thing we cannot make more of or get back. And if your children are like our children, they really appreciate a special dessert at the end.
This program can be used like a script. Follow it word for word, or add your own words. Add your own experiences to each meeting. In the next video, we will do a family meeting with you, so don't worry.
So ask yourselves first, why is faith important? And is it important to my family? It's not just what we do, but it's the essence of who we are.
For us, we want our children to embody the values of Jesus. But that doesn't happen unless we are intentional. We make time for things that are important. Thank you for making this important.
And just remember, one meeting is not going to change your entire family. But being consistent will allow you to create a rhythm, to talk about your faith, to pray together, and to learn more about Jesus.
So as you go forth and begin this journey with your family, take courage in the words of Pope St. John Paul II when he said, "The future does not belong to those with power or money, but to those with children."
You are forming the next generation of disciples.
So I want to say before I go on here that you're a big deal, parents, and that your voice is the strongest voice in your children's life, even if it doesn't look like they're listening to you, okay? They're hearing it, and it's important. Because what you model with your life is really what is going to be most important for them going forward. And so I want you to invite you to open up your box, whatever box you have, and I'm just going to show you a couple pieces inside of it. In each one of them is a parent guide, so you'll see kind of in written form, very similar to our video here, some of the tips if you want to go back through them. And then each of the family meetings is just one 8.5 by 11 sheet, so you don't have to get overwhelmed by a whole book of things. They're really thick pages. Don't worry, it's not a crazy amount. So each one is just a front and a back. And we want to encourage you to gather your entire family together, encourage you to take turns reading the different prayers. There's some direction in there for that. And then to allow people to really have an opportunity to share. One of the reasons that we wanted to stay away from screen-based things was we wanted us to put away those things and have some face-to-face time with each other. Those are the times that we can't get back in our lives, as we shared earlier, because this time is a time to have heart-to-heart conversations and talk about what's super important to us in our faith. So the Mend box covers, it's 7 family meetings, and it covers the origin of sin, our creation, how we fell. Also encourage us to reflect on how God sent his son Jesus to come and save us. First through our baptism, so there's a renewal of baptismal promises in there. And then also we go through each step of reconciliation as well. What's important about the Mend experience is that in the beginning we actually have added a parent meeting. We would invite you to do that parent meeting together with as a couple and to watch the video, the link that is included there. So many times reconciliation has been a bad experience for us in our life, huh? Sometimes we've had a bad experience growing up with that. And if whatever our experience of this particular sacrament is, will color what the experience of our young people will be in it as well. So we want you to go through that. There's an awesome video in there called Lights. I promise it'll touch your heart and really help you to experience reconciliation in a different way. And each one of them continues that same structure as we talked about. The gathering ritual for the Mend box is to bless your children with holy water. The holy water in your boxes is blessed and ready to go. And to bless them each time. Once you get into a ritual, it can help your children have that sense of comfort, something they can rely upon, and they know that this time is a time set apart for conversation and important things. Nourish is 10 family meetings, and it actually follows the structure of the Mass. So as you go through the structure of the Mass, we're learning what we do at home. We gather at home. We forgive at home, we listen at home, we respond at home. In fact, those are the very same things we do as a family of families at church, at Mass every weekend as well. And so this helps us to understand deeper what we're doing, but also to connect it to our everyday lived experience. They call it the source and summit of our faith, right? We want to make sure all the things that we're doing every week, we bring it to Mass, and then it also nourishes what we're doing in that following week as well. So all of the things are in here. If you're missing anything in your box going through it, just go ahead and email Debbie and she'll let us know. We have lots of volunteers putting together our stuff, thank God. And, we found one that didn't have teaching sheets. Everyone has teaching sheets, right? Awesome, good. If you don't, we can get those for you. And then everything is in here as well. Your kids will want to open the box. One of the parishes that we piloted that, some of the kids would just take the box down off and play with the things inside. And I think it builds an anticipation. Mom, Dad, when are we going to use the Play-Doh? When are we going to use the pickup sticks? Like, what is that? Let's talk about that. And we really say that through this experience that the activity teaches the children and the teaching teaches us as adults. And so as you teach, to plumb that for a second, to sit with it before you begin and to make it your own. because your children are going to hear this in a lot different way than any of our catechists could ever deliver it. So my prayer for you, we prayed over every one of these boxes, would be that your families would grow in the fruit of the Spirit, that you'd have more peace, that you'd have more joy, that you'd have more self-control in your homes, and that you would continue to experience Jesus, a God who wants that like a lifelong relationship with you and your family. And so as we continue to make resources, we'll continue to share them, and hopefully you'll be blessed by this resource today. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So we're so excited for you guys to get to try these boxes in your homes. I got the privilege and honor to be one of those volunteers that got to help stuff the boxes. So you can blame me if you're missing anything, but it also made me really excited to see what God was going to do through these boxes in each of your little nests. So I am going to go over the calendar in full detail with you guys so that you know every date that's coming up for the upcoming year. I will give a small precursor before I start. We gave a calendar to all of our families last year, and March hit, and none of the dates remain the same. So this is a calendar that if all things go well, this will be what we're doing. But of course, we're flexible on our end, and we hope that you're flexible with us as we navigate life and what's best and safest for all of our families. So you should have picked up this blue piece of paper. This has all of your dates for First Communion. And so I'm just going to go through it from start to finish so that I can explain everything to you and you know exactly what that is and what date your family needs to have marked down. So of course, these are just some tips on how to create the best nest of faith for your family. So we just want to remind all families that it's really important for our students, especially when they're in First Communion prep, to be coming to Mass with their families. Their teachers will be talking about parts of the Mass a lot in class, and so it really helps that they have an understanding of what Mass looks like and know and can share about their experiences with going to Mass with their families. So we just want to encourage you, if you haven't picked a Mass that your family loves yet, to keep checking out the different Masses we have here. All of them have a little bit of a different flavor, so you kind of just got to try them until you find one that fits for your family. Of course, all students will be preparing in the church nest here at the parish, either at St. Bonaventure School in their regular first and second grade classes or in faith formation. So that will continue, and that will be where they can be fed here. And then we're adding in the family meetings this year, which will be how you help to nourish your family at home. So on the other side here is a list of family meeting dates. So we've actually set aside some dates approximately once a month for you to meet with your family and to do one of the activities in the box. So we're going to challenge all of you to start your boxes this week. So doing either Nourish number 1 or Mend number 1 this week. So try it out, get your feet wet, see what it's like, work out what works and what doesn't work. And then we're going to ask all families in second year prep to try Nourish box number 2 the week of September 15th. So we're going to give you back-to-back weeks to get started. And then after that, we'll start pretty regularly in October, December, January, February, March, April, all the way down. So whenever you see a date, that's just when we're encouraging you to do the family box. That means that your students' teachers at school or in faith formation will also be reminding them either the day that the box is supposed to be happening or the week before in faith formation, like, okay, next week you guys are doing the activity with the string, so make sure you're doing that at home. And so they'll kind of help you to remember, like, oh, we got to do this box. In addition, faith formation this year, we feel like it's so important that we want you guys to have the opportunity to really hone into your nest at home and have that time set aside. So we're not even having faith formation classes on the day that we want you to do the box. Instead of coming to classes, you'll be taking time that day to do your box as a family. All right, then in January, we have a First Communion blessing for all year 1 and year 2 families. That'll just be at any of our Sunday masses, so you'll come January 24th for that date. We're calling year 1 sacrament prep. It'll be the Mend group, and they'll be preparing for First Reconciliation this year. That's something new. Normally, all the students receive First Reconciliation and First Communion in their second year of prep, but we felt pretty strongly with them doing the Mend box and leading up to all getting ready for reconciliation that it would be important for them to finish their year together and that journey by making their first reconciliation. So all first year students will be making First Reconciliation this coming spring.
That means that year 2 families, we did not forget your students have not received their first reconciliation yet either. So they'll be receiving first reconciliation this year in February, and then also First Communion in the spring like normal. So if you flip to the back of that sheet, that's where all the dates are. So it's kind of a little bit of a puzzle, but I think it's all there and pretty straightforward. So for first reconciliations, there will be a rehearsal for all families and then a first reconciliation sacrament date. So you'll follow the calendar. So if we're looking for at year 1 reconciliation, on Tuesday, April 13th, we have all the students making, their first year students making their first reconciliation rehearsal. So if they are in the 4 o'clock faith formation classes or St. Bonaventure School room 9 or any of the virtual plus students, they'll come to the rehearsal at 4 p.m. And then at 6:45 p.m. will be all first year faith formation students that come to 6:45 classes, as well as St. Bonaventure School room 10 and room 15. Okay? And then in I think it's 2 or 3 weeks after that, on Tuesday, May 11th, they'll actually make their first reconciliation on those same time slots. So we'll get you kind of in a group. So we'll rehearse, and then they'll have a couple weeks to practice, and then they'll make first reconciliation. And then for year 2, your dates are similar, but you'll have first reconciliation dates as well as first communion dates. So for first reconciliation rehearsals, they come up in January, on Tuesday, January 12th. So for second year faith formation 4 o'clock classes, as well as St. Bonaventure School room 11 and all the virtual plus students, you'll rehearse at 4 o'clock. And then at 6:45, the second year faith formation 6:45 classes, as well as St. Bonaventure School room 12 and room 20 will rehearse at 6:45. And then a few weeks later, they'll make their first reconciliations on February 9th. Okay? Does anyone have any questions about the first reconciliation dates? If you have any confusion about where your child falls in that mix, because it can be a little confusing, feel free to reach out to our office or ask us or ask one of the St. Bonaventure school teachers. The faith formation teachers will also be sending home reminders, so we'll remind you. But if you want to know now, you can feel free to ask us. And then the dates that second year families are all anxiously waiting for is the first communion dates. So we'll have first communion rehearsal for all second year families on Tuesday, April 20th, either at 4 o'clock or 6:45, depending on your child's class. And then we have our first communion masses scheduled for Sunday, April 27th and Sunday, May 2nd. So you'll just find your child's class there, and that will be the day and the time of their first communion mass. Of course, if we have any students here that are making their all 3 of their sacraments at Easter Vigil, that's scheduled for April 3rd at 8 p.m. And so we'll be in touch with you about rehearsing for that. And then last but not least, we are combining faith formation and St. Bonaventure School in all ways. And so there was one tradition that St. Bonaventure School has historically done that we're going to merge with faith formation. So we will be having a first communion breakfast for all second year families. And that's tentatively on the calendar for Saturday, April 17th. So more details to follow, but you can kind of flag that one in your calendar, second year families. All right, that was a lot of dates, but hopefully as we walk through it all, you will be making sure to let you know as things are coming up. And if you have any questions, always feel free to call our office, email, or swing by. Okay, I'm going to pass it off to Debbie. She's going to close us off in prayer.
Okay, and as Danielle was sharing all those dates, I just want to have the caveat that you already know, which is the calendar changed completely last year. So we just kind of head out, right? We set our sails and we hope that all of this will transpire. And if not, we eventually got all sacraments done this summer and it was beautiful. So it's a good place to start, but let's remember our flexibility. And we're pretty good at communicating. We email, we call, we send flyers home, we post things on Instagram and Facebook, and the school has a newsletter, and so you should be able to find out if there are changes. Okay, so if you can, if all of you can get a hold of your egg that you picked up. If you came later and you don't have an egg, please come up real quick and grab one of the eggs out of the basket up here so that we can do a little closing prayer experience, and a pencil as well. And if there was a way to set anything down, then please do so that you're freed up to enter into a prayer experience. We'll give everyone a few minutes to come up real quick and grab an egg before we start. And for those of you at home that are watching live stream, you'll just have to use your imagination along with us. And imagine that you have an egg that you're holding. And so you're going to imagine this tiny egg as your child. The child or the children that you're bringing forward for sacraments here with us. And since I'll be guiding you through a little meditation, I invite you to close your eyes and just to enter into this experience, and also those of you at home to just close your eyes and allow yourself to be taken into this meditation. It helps to just take some deep breaths, to breathe in slowly and deeply. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in peace and stillness. And breathe out the noise and distraction of the day. We are going to go back in time and meet your child that is preparing for First Communion, back when they were just a baby. In fact, put yourself in their nursery. Look around the room, notice all the decorations, all the cute little things that you put in their room to define them. Notice the small little clothing, all the blankets. Pick up one of the blankets and breathe in that new baby scent, a perfume we'll never, ever forget. All of a sudden, you hear the beautiful sound of your baby sleeping, and you walk over to their crib. You put your hand on your child's small back and begin to rub it. As you are caressing their back, you are struck by how much they are dependent on you. You alone answer every cry, change every diaper, hold them tight, tuck them in, protect and love them. It is a very peaceful feeling, the love of a parent for their little baby. You feel so blessed to know you will get to raise this little baby, and you begin to wonder what they will be like when they grow up, when they ride a bike, receive their first communion, graduate from high school, get married, maybe have children of their own. You smile at the excitement ahead. Pick up your baby now from the crib, so softly, and hold them tight to your chest. Whisper the dreams and hopes you have for them, and tell them how loved they are. Your child begins to fall back to sleep in your arms, and you lay them back into their crib, their little nest, oh so carefully. And you tiptoe out of the room and back into the hallway. As you're standing there, many years begin to pass, and you ever so slowly enter the door of your sweet baby, now as a growing child. You look around their room, and you notice all the decorations, the posters, the pictures of all the things your sweet baby has grown into loving. Notice all the different things about your child that are now in their room, their interests, their hobbies, their school books, their video games, their toys. All of a sudden, you hear the soft sound of your child sleeping, and you walk over to their bed and watch them sleep. You put your hand on their back and begin to carefully rub it. You feel a little less connected to the child in front of you. You no longer can protect their whole world. They're choosing friends, making more of their own decisions. You no longer feel like the center of their world. As you are thinking, you feel someone beside you, and slowly you turn, and you see the softest, kindest man you've ever known. It is Jesus. He begins to ask you about your child. How are you two getting along? Are you struggling with anything? He asks you to describe your child and what you love about them. Maybe what's frustrating you. And you begin to tell Jesus how scary it is to be the parent of this child in such an unknown world. all the things that you worry about. And Jesus reminds you that this little baby is beginning to be their own little person, the person he has called them to be. He knows the sadness of not having them talk to him as much, but he reminds you to be patient as he is, as they grow in age and wisdom. He also sees the mistakes that they will make, and he rejoices in their smallest triumphs. All these will be a part of their future steps. He puts his hand on your shoulder and reminds you that when you're frustrated, as a parent can be, you can come to him. He knows the child he gave you before that you even felt them in your womb. This is the child he wants you to raise, and he tells you how he will continue to help you. He reminds you that he is their father and that he has set out a path for them. He tells you to hold your child in your lap. You put their head against your chest and feel so connected to them. You remember all the reasons you love them. As you are holding your child, Jesus prays over both of you. Listen to his words. He offers you encouragement because he knows it will be difficult. He knows how hard it was for him to watch his mother Mary anguish over him. But he reminds you that he has prepared a place for both of you forever. Take it one day at a time, and he will lead you to that place. You lay your child back down, and he tells you he must go. He hugs you and promises you that you are never alone. You look down one last time at your beautiful, precious baby and begin to tiptoe out of their room, leaving them safely tucked in the nest of your home. So you can slowly open your eyes. And now I'd like you to just take a moment to call to mind all the things that you are envisioning for your child to experience this year. As a mommy or daddy bird has hopes and dreams for the birds in their nest, what hopes and dreams do you have, and what do you imagine for your child? And if you can open up your egg, and inside you'll find a slip of paper. And if you can just take a minute in this space that you're in to just jot down a prayer or a hope or dream that you have for your child for this year. And just write that down on your little intention slip of paper. And for those of you at home, you can feel free to jot down a prayer or intention for your child this year. And then you can just tuck that back inside your egg when you're done. So we'll give you a minute to do that. And we just invite you to take this egg home and remember to pray for your child throughout this year and for yourselves and for the St. Bonaventure Church family that you are a part of as we all journey together this year. We'll be praying for all of you and your children, and we're so blessed that you have entrusted them to us. It's our privilege and our joy to walk alongside all of you. So may God bless us all and keep us safe this year. Okay, so I'm going to give a few quick announcements, and then you're free to go if you've already received your box, your Mend or Nourish box, depending on which year you're in. Those of you at home will stop by the office tomorrow or Thursday, or any of you that may not be prepared tonight to pay the fees and pick up your box, you're welcome to come in this week as well, or if you've run out of time, we will be having all materials in our office for the next couple of days, so just stop by. St. Bonaventure school students, as I said before, have started school in person and online today. So your children have already begun to plug into their religion classes. That will be where they get the teaching component of the faith. And then you'll be coming to meetings and other things on your calendar that the Faith Formation Office will be in charge of. That's why we're having you separately register with us. So you're filling out just a real brief registration so that we can communicate easily with you instead of having to go through the teachers or the principal every time. So it just makes it cleaner for everybody, and then you're informed. And then all things do come through our office. They always did, and we always had to just kind of go back and forth with reservations and monies, and so it's just a much simpler way to handle all of the activities coming up. So thank you for adjusting to that and for allowing us to unite together to help the whole process. And then for those of you in faith formation classes, we will be starting on September 22nd, just in a couple of quick weeks. And for those of you that may or may not be comfortable coming in person, we'll be starting classes in person, and the children at this point are going to be meeting here under the big top, under our church tents. And we'll be social distancing, and as well as the school is doing in person. So if you're needing to come talk to us about at-home programs, we do have a parent-led curriculum that is an option for those of you that for whatever reason are not comfortable coming in person. So please come to our office and let us know. We need you to decide, if possible, by the end of this week so we can make plans and have the proper space ready for the in-person students, and to get you the supplies you'll need to be doing your program at home. So there will be anyone doing the at-home program, there'll be materials going home in October. So we'll give it a few weeks to settle here, and then we'll make sure to give you what you need. And so you're gonna pick up your boxes on the way out at the tables if you haven't already, and register with us if you're from St. Bonaventure School. We'll be sending reminders home through email mostly. So look for those emails from us as to when those family meetings are and any updates or changes to the schedule. And I think that's it. So we'd like to open it up for any questions that you may have, and feel free to ask questions. Those of you at home, hopefully the questions that are asked help you at home, but if you have more questions, feel free to phone or come in our office, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. So at this time, you're free to receive your boxes, to go home, or to ask any questions of us. So we look forward to sharing this year together. Thank you all for being here. Does anybody have any questions about the calendar or the year ahead? Yes? The May 2nd date, there's a question. What does it read? So all the dates correspond to the class that your child is in. So some of you may or may not know which class your child is in yet, but you will. And those dates will correspond. So, perfect. And as each of the events get closer, we'll tell you all about the attire and more details, but you have a nice overview and you get calendar dates to mark your calendars. So God bless all of you. We're always available. Thank you.